Yo, 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 it's your boy One Deep 215 back with another video. What's up, y'all? We gonna have a little discussion today because I recently posted, probably about a week ago, posted a video about a local broadcaster being let go from a sports station. That broadcaster being Tyrone Johnson, and I got a lot of feedback on it, and I appreciate it. Some good, some not good, but mostly good. And when I say some not good, don't think that I don't see the comments and appreciate the comments. That's what I want. I want this channel to be for obviously I do the food videos, I do the sports talk, I do the topics. Things that's going on in the world. So I do that for dialogue. I'm not on here to, y'all see how my channel is. Any of y'all that's used to my channel, y'all see it's very, very forthright. I don't go with a bunch of graphics and a bunch of edits. I give it to y'all raw and I give it to y'all honest. So I appreciate the comments and keep them coming. But the reason why I'm making this video is because I noticed a lot of comments that I was like, well, maybe they didn't watch the whole video, or maybe they didn't get my outlook on what we was discussing or what I was discussing. So I wanted to make this video just for that. And I also, since I'm on the topic, I said I might as well make also add in the current state, the current landscape of Philadelphia sports radio here in the Delaware Valley, because to me, I think it's at a state where it's pretty watered down. I'm not going to say it's all bad, but from where it was, it's not even a fraction of how good it was in those years. You know, like I told you, I go way back with this sports talk thing. When you were a kid, you know, you start listening to sports talk radio at the age of 10. That's how far back I go with it, because I was a lover of sports ever since I was 5 years old. And I remember having my little Walkman in bed at night listening to WIP. On Saturday, on the weekends listening. On days I didn't have school, listening to WIP. So we going back to the early to mid 90s. That's how long I've been listening to sports radio, and I fell in love with it. I actually wanted to do it as a profession at one point in my life. I'm going to say probably like in my mid to late teens. Obviously that didn't happen, but it is what it is. But let's get into it, though. That's enough of that. The whole Tyrone thing. So, like I said, I made a video about a week ago, and I pretty much announced the fact that he was let go from his spot at 97.5. I didn't like it overall. Overall, I didn't like it. I'm going to get to why I did like it, but overall, I didn't like it because I believe he wasn't the only problem on that particular show. And I felt as though they could have gave him, if he wanted it, some type of demotion, whether it's going to another show or becoming maybe a sidekick and finding a new host to take over the show that he was on. That's how I felt as though they should have handled it. Now, they let him go, but I never stood beyond the fact that what I stood on was he got fired, he got let go for a reason. And I stated those points quite eloquently, I thought I stated it, you know, but it is what it is. So I got a lot of feedback, and a little side topic, a little caveat to that, I got feedback because he also made a post. Believe it or not, on the same day I made my video, and I didn't even know he made a video. I happened to, you know, you scrolling through YouTube and you see what you see. And he made a video on the same exact day. I don't know what time, but it was the same exact day I made my video, pretty much saying, giving his farewell and giving his kudos to the people that helped him over the years and his friends. And I commented on his video and pretty much told him, you know, best wishes, but I also put in there, you know, you wasn't so good on the show, and I got feedback from that. And like I said, keep it coming. I'm not running from nobody's comments, and like I said, it was mostly good. It was mostly good on my channel and on his, but it was something bad, and I just wanted to clear the air, make certain points clear as far as where I'm coming from with it. My main point with the whole Tyrone situation was I had a lot invested in the show, not just because I'm a sports fan and I love sports talk radio. The main point was because Tyrone Johnson is African American. And I'm not biased. I like white hosts, I like black hosts, I like Asian hosts, Spanish hosts. But Tyrone Johnson is African American. And he happened to be the first and only African American non-athlete to have a show during a primetime slot here in Philadelphia. So when I saw that, I said, wow. Now, I'm past my prime. I'm damn near Tyrone's age. He might have me by 4 years or whatever. But I'm talking about the younger guys, the younger generation that is into sports media, because I know I'm not the only one to grow up listening to sports talk radio. Now, is it a dying breed a little bit, kind of like the newspapers? I wouldn't say it's dying, but it's fading. Sports talk radio is fading because everybody has a podcast. People want to listen to XM radio. People want to listen to satellite radio, whatever the case may be. And then you got social media, so you can find out your little sports, whatever. You can get your sports fix other ways. I'm old school. I'm a throwback, so I'm still going to listen, even after listening for over 30 years. I love sports talk radio. Now, is it dwindling down a little bit? And we're going to talk about that later when I get into the current landscape of sports talk radio, because I do believe I don't know what they need to fix or tweak or if there's anything they can do, but the format has changed. The criteria has changed. It's different. But I don't want to get off the Tyrone thing because I want to nip this in the bud in the beginning of the video. So that was my main point, was the reason why I was so invested, and I felt so, I'm not going to say, let's just say I had a lot invested into Tyrone's show. And it wasn't just his show. He was the head honcho, though. He was the head guy, and I think we can make that clear that he was the head guy, but he also had two partners at first, and then they let one go, and then it was just him and Ricky. And they had the girl on the side, Savannah. I ain't going to call Savannah. I'm going to keep it real. I didn't really notice her that much because to me, she wasn't really a host. She was more of the update person, but she had something on the show. They had a female before that that they let go, and Savannah came on. Make a long story short, they let Tyrone go. The reason why I felt so much because he is African American, the one and only, and y'all do y'all history, like fact check me on this, the one and only African American sports radio broadcaster, non-former athlete, to be on the radio during the primetime slot, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. You had your Divine Givens. Divine never was on the primetime slot unless he was filling in for somebody. You had Phil from Mount Airy. I think he might have passed away. Rest in peace to him. He was a caller, I believe. He was a listener, became a host. And it wasn't really a real host. It was kind of like, I don't know if it was a publicity stunt or what, but it was what it was. He got on the radio and he was a host for a while. But these guys was hosting at night. These guys was hosting after 6 o'clock. You know what I mean? It's something, don't get me wrong. Kudos to them. But we never had a non-athlete in the prime time slot, non-former athlete. I mix up my words up, but y'all just follow me. I know y'all pretty much know the ones that know what I'm getting at. So it was that. So that's why I was so hell-bent on Tyrone being good at what he did. And not saying he was a total, but he was a total, like, the show was bad. I'm standing on that. The best show ever was a bad show. Anybody that want to comment and keep telling me how good the show was, and it wasn't a lot of people, but it was some. I'm like, y'all, well, we obviously got different tastes. And I'm cool with agreeing to disagree. I'm okay to agree to disagree. Something that Tyrone can't do, but I'm okay with people having other opinions. But your average listener that know what they listening to, for the most part, is going to say the show was a bad listen. You're going to get more people say it was a bad listen than good. That's just fact. That's fact, okay? So, that's why. That was my main reason for even talking about it. And even calling up to the show a couple times and telling Tyrone. I got hung up on, obviously. But I told him, like, you know, this show, what's going on? And it ain't just you, your co-hosts, the program directors. Y'all got these side topics, y'all got these side skits that ain't working. 10-second song, are you killing? Is you kidding me? Is you kidding me? Like, what y'all think y'all WMMR? Preston and Steve? What y'all, I don't know, what was we going for? And I get it's a promotional type of whatever. They got to give out a prize. So they need ways, but y'all could have came up with a better way than 10-second song. Because I think most listeners don't even care about them songs, if we being real. Word of the day. I mean, and it wasn't just Tyrone, but here's the thing. I got a lot of comments saying, well, you said Tyrone had ample enough time to make it whole, make it fix, which he did. He was on the show for almost 3 years, not 3 months. But he's not the program director. He got higher ups that he got to listen to. Fact. That's 100% fact, right? But here's the thing. I never worked in sports talk radio, but one thing I do know about sports talk radio and radio in general, when you're the lead host of a show, you have some say-so in what goes on the show as well. Now, there's somebody over you that has final say-so. But if you have a creative mind enough, if you know what you're hearing, like, I'm sure he got friends or whatever. I don't know if they all whatever, but they might be giving them feedback like, y'all might want to change. So, miss me with he had higher ups. He was the head honcho of that show. He wasn't the sidekick. He wasn't the update person. He was none of that. If the show had a right name, it would have been Tyrone Johnson and Ricky Batalico. So, his name would have led the show if it had the right name that they should have called it, instead of the best show ever. He would have had some say-so or some input on what we should do, what we shouldn't do, whether they took it into account or not. Now, maybe he did say things. Maybe he didn't want to do word of the day every day, stupid words of the day and all that, and 10-second song. Maybe he was against it. But it obviously ain't do enough because they drug it out and drove it all the way into the ground. Another point I stood on is how I said Ricky Batalico shouldn't be there still as well. I told you I was going to update on that. As y'all probably know, it's been a week. He's still on, and he's on with Connor Thomas. I don't know Connor that well. I know he's like a fill-in guy over there at 97.5, a weekend guy over there at 97.5. I'm not sure if that's going to be the staple of the show moving forward. I don't know if that's going to be like a permanent show. I'm not sure. I mean, listening to it for about a week now, the show is still bad. Now, it takes more than a week to judge a show, obviously. See, I'm fair. I didn't call Tyrone's show bad after a week or even a month or shit, even a year. But once we got to damn near 2 years and it was still the same thing, they let Hunter Brody go and it was him and Ricky and it was still the same BS, the show was bad. So I can't grade this new show, which I don't even think is going to be, like I said, the permanent thing. If I had to put my money on it, they probably going to bring somebody in. They need to let Ricky go too. I said that. But I think they're going to keep Ricky and bring somebody else in, probably around August. If I don't have no inside information, I'm just saying, logistically, that's the way I think it would go. Unless Connor wow everybody, and he might be. You know, like I said, I don't know him enough to judge him. From what I heard over a week, the show is overall still bad. Now, they also not taking calls. That's another thing that a commenter corrected me on. See, I know when I'm wrong. I forgot that they had a problem with the phone lines like a month ago. Now, I didn't think it would take this long. That's probably why I forgot about it. They had a problem with the phone lines, and ever since then, they haven't been taking calls. That's all the shows on 97.5, not just that show. So I still corrected on that. So once they get the phone calls, the phone lines working, and we see how Connor and Ricky interact and how the show flows, then I can probably give it a proper, reading of what I think it is. But after a week, it's trash right now. It's still trash. Getting on the Ricky thing, I did notice that Ricky Batalico has grown the pair ever since Tyrone left. I've noticed that. And whoever want to come at me for saying that, I don't care. I'm going to say what I want. I noticed that Ricky Batalico has grown a pair of testicles all of a sudden ever since Tyrone left. I don't know if the program director pulled him in and said, look, we got rid of the main guy, but you coming off, because I know I'm not the only one. People, I don't call up to the show and tell the higher-ups, yo, you need to fire. I would never do that. But I'm sure it's people that email and send tweets or whatever. And I know I'm not the only one that know that Ricky Batalico is a totally different person on Post-Game Live, Phillies Post-Game Live, and whatever the best show ever was. He just was. He was a different person. Sorry about that. He was a different person around the board. He was so agreeable and this and that with Tyrone. But you put him up there with Michael Barkan and Ruben Amaro, and he's telling them what it is. Partly, I think that was the reason he got the job at 97.5, because of his work on Phillies pre- and post-game. I don't know what the Tyrone situation was. I don't know. Because he was a different person. Yes, Tyrone. Yes, I agree. Yeah. No, they're crazy. And on any main topic, the main topics they've been talking about for the last few years. Kyle Schwarber should be batting leadoff. This is Tyrone talking. Ricky, yeah, I agree. Oh, he should be. Now all of a sudden you don't even hear him talking about Kyle Schwarber ain't batting leadoff no more and haven't been all season. It's not a thing. Oh, I hate the fact that they did a standing ovation for Trey Turner. This is Tyrone talking. Ricky, even more. Oh, it was stupid. I hated the fans. They soft, they this, they that. Huh? And not saying they can't agree on those things, coincidence, but it ain't a coincidence that everything Tyrone is so hell-bent on, Ricky is even more hell-bent on. That's not radio. That's BS. That's what that is. Two grown-ass men. I ain't even going to put it on Tyrone. It's Ricky. Because I think Tyrone stand on what he say and what he believe. I don't think Ricky have two legs to stand on. Now he does. And you put Connor Thomas in the booth with him. He know how to spar with him a little bit. Maybe it's just me. It's only been a week. But overall, it is what it is. I stand on what I believe. I just had to clear the air. Don't nobody want to see no man lose his job. And the man's going to be all right. I mean, I think the world, us as a culture in today's world, I'm going to say we got soft. We've gotten soft. You got people saying, oh, man, how you going to say that? He's a brother and don't hate and all that. Using like you hate, like sound like Tyrone. You're a hater. We grown men. I'm 40 over 40 years old. I don't play games. The fact is, you in a ratings-based business, and not just your ratings was bad. Just overall, the show was bad. That's all. And somebody gonna lose their job over it. I don't think he should have just automatically lost his whole job. Maybe a demotion or a different show or become a sidekick, bring a real host in, or whatever the case may be. But I stand on the fact that he was horrible as a host. It is what it is. But I definitely wanted to clear the air with that because it was like, and I like the feedback. And give me feedback on this one. Whether it's good or bad, I'm okay with it. I'm not saying don't be sending me comments saying I'm wrong. I'm not Tyrone. It's okay. You can disagree with me because I'm not always right with everything. I'm not. But I know what good radio is and bad radio is. And that was horrible radio. Now, let's get off of that. I just wanted to clear the air with that real quick. Let's talk about the current landscape of sports talk radio in Philadelphia, because I think we all got to admit it's been watered down over the years. Yeah, guys retire. The Angelo Cataldis are the like, whether you love him or hate him. I think Angelo Cataldi was a hell of a sports talk host. Was he quirky? Did he know everything? No. But I think he was one of the best of the best. You had people like Howard Eskin had to step down. Another guy, polarizing figure, might love him, might hate him. Overall, to me, he was a pioneer. I didn't like him that much, but he knew his stuff. He had connections. He knew people. Ray Danger, he's gone. One of my favorite, Glenn McNeil, gone. So, and not passed. I don't want to make it seem like these guys passed away. Going from the station. So let me clear that up. But y'all know what I mean. If y'all know, y'all know. So you had some of the elite step down. But even now, it's like, it's okay, but it's not what it was. Like I said, I go back. I go back to the days of Jan Gorham doing the updates on WIP. I go back to Steve Fredericks. I just do. I was a kid, but it is what it is. Take it for how you want. So let's look at the current lineup of like sports radio in the main time slots Monday through Friday. Now over there at 97.5, you got John Kincaid and Andrew Salchunas. To me, they it's hard because overall, I think 97.5 could do better. I don't know if Beasley is a cheap station. I know they don't have as much money as WIP. That goes without saying. You can listen to the programming and see that. You can see the giveaways that they have and see that. You can see what FanFest is every year, Fantasy Fest, whatever they call it, and see they don't have a lot of money over there at Beasley, and it is what it is. But I'm just saying, they got John Kincaid, and most people thought it was going to be a big shakeup. Got him over there in the morning, and is he a constant professional? Yes. Do he know his sports? Yes. There's something about him that don't move the needle for me. I don't know what it is. I think Andrew Salchunas got a bright future ahead of him. I think he's going to be one of those big players in the sports talk world down the road. Right now, he's good though. He's good. He's a good sidekick to John over there. But it's something about that show that don't move it for me. It just don't. But solid overall, just not exceptional. Feel me? Then in the afternoon, you obviously got Mike Missinelli. He does a show with Bill Colarulo as his sidekick. Good show. Good, solid show. Is Mike Missinelli getting a little long in the tooth? Yes, he is. Clearly. And that's not no shade. The man's in his late 60s. But Mike might be pushing. Yeah, late 60s. He might be, late 60s. Let's go with that. So it is what it is. It's like, okay. But Mike is an overall juggernaut in this industry. We already know. We already know what Mike Missinelli brings. But is he a little past his prime? Yes, I got to admit. So, but overall, good listen. And then, like I said earlier, Ricky Batalico, and you got Connor Thomas. A new show that I don't think is permanent, but it is what it is. Can't really talk about that show. The only thing I can say is Ricky has actually became regular Ricky now. It's a miracle. I don't know how. I don't know. Something came down from the skies and Ricky said, you know what, I'm be myself. It is what it is. I don't know. I still don't. Overall, I think Ricky should be going. Overall, I know they need a former athlete because the other station got like 3 of them over there. You know, Beasley or 97.5, I guess they can only afford one. That's like the new wave to have a former athlete on the show. And I get why they do that because, you know, the listeners can actually listen to somebody that played the game and got more insight and can tell people about locker room stuff. I get why they do it, but it is what it is. Back in the day, it was like really no former athletes besides Gary Cobb. Gary Cobb was on WIP back in the day, and he did a show. But as a sidekick or whatever. And then he did a show, I believe, by himself for a while in his later career on WIP. Gary Cobb was one of those. He was pretty good as a former athlete on the radio. He wasn't bad. But can't really talk about that. Now, over at 97.5, to me, and this is just me, the best show out of the 3 mainstay shows on either station is Joe DeCamera and John Ritchie. It just is. It just is. I don't know if it's the Angelo effect. I don't know. Angelo Cataldi effect or whatever, but it's a good, solid show. Sometimes do it come off with too many voices in the background because you got the crew. Rhea Hughes, salute to her. She been in the game for a while, and you got little sidekick people here and there. Yeah. But overall, Joe DeCamera, people talk down on him. He a nerd and all this. He probably is. But he knows his sports. He know how to host a show. He could come off as an asshole, but in a regular host way. not in a way where, not to compare him to Tyrone, but in a way where you feel like you on trial, or a real arrogant, over arrogant. Joe DeCamera could be an asshole though, but that's part of the show. First of all, it's a morning show, so it's a whole different format. But still, he was like that when he was on the midday show, before he moved up to the morning show. That's just that, but DeCamera knows his stuff. Now that's somebody that moved up the right way. Like he did it. And overall, I think he knows his stuff. They got a nice segment, Beat the Hammer, every, once a week. That's sports talk. That's real. That's a real thing. Not these little stupid bozo stuff. Like, I don't know. But I like John Ritchie. He has a nice voice for radio. He actually kind of sounds like Ricky Batalico a little bit over the radio. Just a little bit. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good show overall. Then you have Joe Giulio and Hugh Douglas. That show had to grow on me, because when that show first was erected and first started, obviously you can't judge something after a few weeks or even a few months. But at first I'm like, no, like, it ain't coming off as a good listen. Hugh thinks he's funny, but he's not that funny. Joe Giulio be seeming whiny. Now, I like the show. Hugh Douglas is kind of funny. And Joe Giulio is just Joe Giulio. If you know, you know. But overall, and he's a host. He know how to carry a show. Can't say that enough. It is what it is. I don't know. But yeah, that's a good show. And then in the afternoons, you got Ike Reese and Spike Eskin. Of course, you got to add in, I guess, Jack Fritz. That show is good. My knock on that show is, you know how I said on The Best Show Ever, formerly The Best Show Ever, how they don't give callers long enough to talk? That show give callers too long to talk. Too long. It's one thing to be on at night or on the evenings where you got a long time you can talk to a caller, which I respect, because it's not like you don't have a lot of listeners and you don't have a lot of callers waiting on hold. That's one thing. But when you're on in the afternoon, y'all giving these people too much shine. The whatever they names, I forget all the names, but y'all know who. The people that's known to call that show every day, and they talk for 4 or 5 minutes, and sometimes it's about absolutely nothing, or it's about inside jokes that nobody else know about. That show, overall, is it a good show? I gotta say it is. But they talk Eagles too much, and they give callers too long on the phone lines. But overall, yeah, Jack Fritz, I like him because he's a Phillies fan, and I'm a big Phillies fan. But he come off as whiny. I ain't even gonna say whiny. He just talks like he's always smiling. Like, if you ever hear Jack Fritz talk on the radio, it's like he always got a smile on his face. Not saying that's a bad thing, but it's like you don't know when to take him serious or not, because it sounds like he's laughing as he's talking all the time. Maybe it's just me, but it is what it is. But overall, good show. So like I said, now, to me, some of the best hosts is the people that aren't full-time. Like, I mean, seriously, Jody McDonald, one of my favorites. One of my favorites. I think he only worked 2 nights a week, and he on that nighttime, and it is what it is. He obviously got other endeavors nationally, but I mean, I love Jody. Jody McDonald is a great host. Rob Ellis, another one of my favorites. Standard. Rob is one of the best sports talk radio hosts I ever heard, and that's saying a lot, because he just is. Rob give it to you straight. He don't come off as your best friend, but he don't come off as an asshole. He just going to talk sports with you. It's almost like being in the bar talking sports radio. It really is. Or a barbershop. Rob Ellis is good. I don't care what nobody say. He's good. He was over there at 97.5 after he left WIP the first time and came back. But people talk about the chemistry thing, like we was talking about on the last video, like how Ricky and Tyrone had such great chemistry, and they didn't. It just is what it is. We go back and forth on that. Chemistry is Tony Bruno and Harry Mays. That was chemistry. Tony Bruno and Harry Mays had chemistry. Pure chemistry. Glenn McNeil and Ray Denninger, pure chemistry. Don't give me that Tyrone and Ricky stuff. That wasn't chemistry. That was, I don't know what that was. But, I mean, I know y'all probably done with me ranting. I could talk about sports a lot, and y'all see it. But overall, just wanted to clear the air with the whole Tyrone thing. I'm gonna say it again. I wish him luck in his future because I know he's going to be out there again. He has talent, so he's going to be somewhere. And I wish him luck. I just hope that he learned from his past, whatever, and learn from it and grow from it. Because nobody's going to grow unless you give them some type of constructive criticism. You can't just say woo-woo with your pom-poms and say, go Tyrone, you did no wrong. Learn from what your mishaps was and move on. Because I want to see the man win overall. I'm just not afraid to say what his mishaps was and his shortcomings was, because he's not afraid to say what nobody else mishaps is. Clearly, whether it be athletes, people, he talks a big game. So when somebody say a big game on him, then there's boo-hoo. And I'm not saying he's pouting, but you get people that pout for him, and I don't get it. The man's going to be all right. But tell me what y'all think about this topic. I know I ran it for 30 minutes plus. I am sorry. But if you like the video anyway, hit a like on it. Comment on the video. I love the comments, y'all. And y'all know I read most of them. I don't have a lot of subscribers, so I can read them. And please subscribe to this channel. Till next time, we got some more topics coming. And some more sports talk. Let's debate, y'all. I see y'all in the next one. I'm out.